Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Amanullah. In first part, I explain what is the definition of global positioning system and what is the introduction and what is the history of global positioning system. Okay, so I continue further. GPS has three parts, three components. First one is satellite, second one is ground station, and third one is the receivers. So satellite and ground stations are described already. Satellite they act like stars in constellation, and ground station they have some antennas. They control and monitor the satellites. Okay, so third part was receivers. Receivers are constantly listening for signals. The satellite's highly advanced receivers can even identify the exact location. These are devices that we might find in our phone or in our vehicles, and these constantly receive signals from the satellite. The receiver figures out how far away they are from some of them. Once the receiver calculates its distance from four or more satellites, it knows exactly where we are. So there are three parts. First one is satellite portion, and there are only 24 satellites. There are 32 satellites, but there are operating only 24 satellites because extra satellites are kept for failures of some satellites. Okay, first part of GPS is satellite. Satellites are moving around the Earth, and second portion is the second component. There is a ground station, and ground stations they have antennas, helical antennas, and some hardware components which control to satellites, which monitor the satellites. Okay, and last component or last part of the GPS is the receivers, and receivers are users, mobile users, car users, vehicle users, aeroplane users. That is called components of a GPS system. There are three components: receivers. Receivers are built in mobile phones, cars, vehicles, and this is the ground station. Ground stations are controlling, monitoring, establishing, and uh, gathering information from satellites. Okay, this was the introduction of a GPS system. So this is a car. Car has GPS receiver. These are the satellites, and this is the ground station. They have some antennas. Okay, so now I am moving on. Interesting. This is the interesting working principle of a GPS. How we can find easily our location and how we can reach on our destination easily. So there are at least four GPS satellites in the line of sight. Four GPS satellites in the line of sight of receiver on Earth. They transmit the GPS send information about the position and the time to the receiver. GPS is a fixed interval. The signals that are sent to receiver devices are radio waves. By finding the difference in the time between the signals sent from the GPS satellite to the time the GPS receives, the distance between the GPS receiver and the satellite can be calculated. There are four GPS satellites which transmit the signal, which send the signals to the receiver. Receiver are built in mobile phones or vehicles. Okay, so we can easily find our distance. We can calculate our distance through four GPS satellites. Okay, line of satellite using the trilateration process. We can calculate distance or destination through trilateration process. Trilateration process is used in GPS. The receiver locates the position a signal are obtained from at least three satellites. Three satellites through three satellites. and we calculate the distance. For GPS, calculate a two-dimensional position which includes a latitude, longitude, and a minimum of three satellites are required. I described four. We have need of four satellites, a GPS satellite, because if we have a two-dimension position, then we use only three three satellites. If we have need of, if we have three-dimension position, then we use four satellites. So we have required four satellites for three-dimension position that provides a latitude, longitude, altitude, a minimum of four satellites are needed. Okay, I hope you have gotten my point. Trilateration is defined as the process of determining the location based on the intersection of the spheres. The distance between the satellites and the receiver is calculated by considering three-dimensional spheres such that satellites is located in the center of the sphere using the same method. The distance for all the GPS satellites from the receiver is calculated. So, trilateration is explained as the process of determining the location based on the intersection of spheres of the spheres. For suppose this is object, this is the object, and these are the satellites. These are the satellites which are moving. Okay, these are the satellites. This is called center. This is called center. It defines the process of determining the location based on the intersection of the spheres. When three satellites intersect with each other, then we can calculate the distance of the position or object or vehicle or anyone. So this was the concept of trilateration. Trilateration. Trilateration is the process of intersecting the three satellites with each other, and their center will be calculate the distance. So this was the process. This was the concept of the trilateration. There are two types of GPS. GPS receiver can take different form depending on who is using them and for what purpose. There are some types of GPS. So we are explaining first is the personal GPS. Personal GPS, chances are we have used the GPS in one form or another, either through a smartphone, handheld device, or one integrated into a car. GPS devices for personal use are meant to be used by the general public for things like navigating to destination or helping locate. Personal GPS system means they can use for human or civilian people or civilian purposes. So they can be used in mobile phones, cars, coaches. They can be used for human purposes. So that is called personal GPS system. And second one is the commercial. Commercial, as opposed to the personal GPS, commercial ones are used by companies and business. This is used by the companies or for business purposes. There might not be much practical difference between personal and commercial devices, but oftentimes there is a more integration with other systems. For example, a delivery company may use GPS to help track the vehicles, and it can be used in a combination with a computer system, and they use to track where items were delivered. So, personal GPS system can be used for civilian people, and commercial can be used for business purposes. And third, the use for military. Military was used for originally developed by the US military for its own use, but began to open to public use during the 1996. 1996. GPS is still used by the US military and allies today for guiding weapons and tracking vehicles. In fact, the US military has access to more precise and accurate version of GPS and can even time limit GPS access to other countries in times of conflict. This can be used in military purposes. For suppose if two countries are fighting with